Hello, my name is Noel Mangil, and this is my informative speech for Speech Communications 101. Aloha, kia ora, yorana, malo'elelei, hula vinaka, ta'alofa. You are probably wondering what these words mean. These are the official greetings of the various island nations of Polynesia. Hawaii, Aotearoa, or New Zealand, French Polynesia, or Tahiti, the last remaining monarchy of the Pacific, Tonga, Fiji, and Samoa. Today I'm going to talk about the people of Polynesia and the intricate art of Polynesian dance and how it is used to worship God in church and church-related functions. I will explain the origin of the Polynesian people, the introduction of Christianity in the islands, and how dance is used to not only tell stories of culture, but to also use it as a way to promote what God values. Polynesian dancing is a cultural art that uses the human body to tell stories of ancestry and culture, while also using it to tell stories of God. Polynesia was first encountered by early European explorers. According to the video documentary, Wayfinders, Pacific Odyssey, it wasn't until the late 18th century, with the coming of Europe's second expedition, did a reasonable hypothesis about where the Polynesians came from and how they managed to discover and settle their island world begin to emerge. Wikipedia.com reports that Polynesians are genetically linked to indigenous people of parts of Southeast Asia, including those of Taiwan. The early Polynesians were skilled navigators who used the stars, moon, and sun to guide them through their nautical voyages. Polynesians were also very accustomed to using natural resources to live. They used local trees and plants and their roots, as well as the ocean life for food. They also used their surroundings to accommodate their living quarters, such as tents and huts. Before the introduction of Christianity, the early Polynesians did not wear clothing. They used leaves from the trees to make skirts and articles of clothing to cover their bodies. In the 1830s, an English missionary sailed to the Pacific in hopes of spreading Christianity to any nation he came across. His name was John Williams. He is generally referred to as the Apostle of Polynesia for this very reason. However, before John Williams, Polynesians worshipped their own gods and had their own rituals of worship and sacrifice. To entertain themselves, Polynesians used song and dance. They sang and danced about daily life, the ocean, the land, using hand and feet motions to tell their stories. For example, the water, the sky, and the mountains. They were used in cultural ceremonies such as weddings. However, it was around the time of John Williams that Polynesian dance was abolished by British Puritan missionaries. Because of the introduction of Christianity, cultural dance was somewhat frowned upon. Fortunately, dance was timidly reintroduced in the 20th century. The second half of the 20th century saw a fuse in church and cultural dance. Church groups were beginning to use dance to tell stories from the Bible, as well as acting out skits of popular events in the Bible, such as the Passion of Christ and birth of the baby Jesus. Today, Polynesians use dance interpretation in their worship services as an attempt to show God that they can use the talent He gave them to worship Him and to tell His stories of redemption, salvation, faith, and hope. Usually, there are church gatherings from various congregations to showcase their best interpretation of God's messages through song and dance. For special Mass, Catholics in the islands dress in traditional attire to present the offertory and gifts. Most churches have fathers groups, mothers groups, and of course youth groups, who use song and dance for special events, such as Father's and Mother's Day, Easter, Christmas, and White Sunday, a special Sunday in October that is dedicated to the children in the islands, where they recite passages from the Bible, enact plays and skits, and sing and dance. Polynesia is a very unique part of the world. The cultures are rich and very much alive in practice to this day. Like any other nation, its people are spread throughout the world, extending their cultures to non-Polynesians and using dance not only to entertain, but also to worship the Lord. Today, there are hundreds of Samoan churches throughout the U.S. that incorporate song and dance into their regular worship service, as they do in the islands. Although the Polynesians worshiped multiple gods at the beginning of their time, Christianity has enlightened the people and allowed them to utilize the Western ways, but at the same time maintaining what and who they are, people of the Pacific who are united under one God. Your culture and its traditions are part of your identity. Your body is God's temple. When you entwine the two to worship God, it shows how you accept Him and His value, that He has authority over all things under the sun, including our bodies. Thank you.